Okay, so today we are on Envision. And we are on topic 1, lesson 2. And this will be found on page 11. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is, if you read that question with me on page 11, it says, the population of a city is 1,880,000. What is the value of the two eights in this number? How are the two values related? Use the place value chart to help solve the problem. And if you look at page 11, there actually is a place value chart. And so you could go ahead and fill in those numbers. In the 1,880,000. Okay, so the place value of the eights in 1,880,000, one of the eights is 800,000. And the other 8 is in the 10,000 spot. So we have them in the 100,000 and the 10,000. And those are in the 100,000 and the 10,000s place. It also says, how are the two values related? And if you look, 800,000 is 10 times more than 80,000. Because if we multiply 80,000 by 10, we would get 800,000. So 800,000 is 10 times more than 80,000. So our numerical expression could look like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's turn the page, and we are going to start looking at page 12. And we are going to read the problem on the top of page 12. So this is found on page 11, and this one is found on page 12. Okay, so it says, according to the 2010 U.S. Census, the population of Phoenix, Arizona is about 1,440,000. What is the relationship between the value of the two fours in this number? So we're going to go ahead first and we're going to write it in expanded form. And when we do it in expanded form, we're going to do a little bit different than we normally do in class. And so the expanded form is 1 for 1,440,000 is 1 times a million. And that is a true statement. 1 times 1 million is equal to 1 million, plus 4 times 100,000 plus 4 times 10,000. Now, that is a true statement. 1 times 1 million is 1 million, plus 4 times 100,000 is equal to 400,000, plus 4 times 10,000 is equal to 40,000. If we add those together, we will get 1,440,000. Now, we're going to take this a little bit further, and we're going to go ahead and write this in exponents. And I'm going to go ahead and put these in parentheses. And the first exponents for 1 million is 10 to the 6th, because remember, we count the zeros, and that's how many place values we will have on our exponents. So that will be 1 times 10 to the 6th. Now this one is times 4. And if you notice, we have 5 zeros, so we get 10 to the 5th. But our last one is 4 times, we count 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and we get 10 to the 4th. And so we can write in expanded form as well with exponents, just like we do with the regular numerical form. So if you look down at the convince me question, it says, is the value of the 1 in 440,000 10 times as great as the value of the 4 in the 100,000s place? So let's look at that for a minute. Is this 10 times greater than this? The answer would be no. And that is because we have 400,000s. So 100,000 is not equal to 10 times 400,000. Now, if we look at these two questions, 40,000 times 10 is 400,000. So 400,000 in this case is 10 times greater than 40,000. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of questions from the assignment. And so I'm going to go ahead and move on to a new page. If you haven't got all of this, go ahead and pause and write that down. I'm just going to open up to a new sheet. Again, this is still lesson 2, and we're just going to do some sample problems. So let's go ahead and let's look at number 6 on the guided practice, and this is on the independent practice, excuse me, on page 13. And the question is, write 4 times 10 to the 4th plus 6 times 10 to the 2nd power in expanded form, in standard form. So first things first, we always start with the parentheses, and we are going to look at 4 times, and this has the exponent of 4, so we need to make sure that our number has 4 zeros, so that is equal to 10,000. And I'm going to leave that in parentheses for another minute, plus 6 times, and we see that there is an exponent of 2, so we will get 2 zeros, which is equal to 100. So this 4 times 10,000 is equal to 40,000 plus 600. And I'm going to add those together. So I have 4. I do not have a number in the thousands place, so that will be a 0. So 40,600. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at number 9 on that same independent practice on page 13. And in this case, if you make sure you read the directions when you're doing your homework, but in this case, it wants us to write each number in expanded form. So I have 102,000. So I can write in my first one, 1 times 100,000 plus, and I don't have a number in the 10 spot, so I need to go to the 10,000 spot, excuse me. So I'm going to go down to the 1,000 spot, plus 2 times 1,000. Now, if I wanted to take that even a step further, I could put 1 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 to the 5th power, excuse me, plus 2 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 3rd power. And that could be my expanded form. And for my last problem, I'm going to go ahead and do number 13 still on page 13. And it says, find the value of the ones in 2,011,168. And the value of the first one's place is equal to 10,000. I probably should write maybe some colons in between, a colon in between. The next value is equal to 1,000. And the last value of 1 is equal to 100. Okay, I hope that that is clear to you. Remember, you always need to try your questions before you just skip over them. Your homework today, and I'll write it up here, is guided practice. And I'm not writing that very neatly. And it is on page 13. And we are doing 1 through 3. Now make sure you do that convince me statement with full sentences on number 1. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.